welcome to Review the Light. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new MH10 by Nitecore, but really quick before we get into it, if you haven't yet, go ahead and click this link right down here to subscribe to my YouTube channel. This one right up here to follow me on Facebook. That'll make sure you keep up to date with the latest reviews and videos, which of course is something that you'd love to do. So, the MH10 by Nitecore, a new USB rechargeable flashlight, says it gets up to 1,000 lumens. I'll be testing that in my integrating sphere. If you want to read all the specs, you can pause at any time you like and take a look at anything on any of these sides of the box. I'm not going to read the whole box to you. I'm going to assume if you know how to use YouTube, you can at least read a little bit. So we'll go ahead and open it up. Alright, so included inside the box are this little baggie that has the clip, some spare O-rings, and a lanyard, a USB cord with a fancy little Nitecore Velcro cord wrap. That's kind of fun. The USB cord has a USB port on one side, micro USB on the other. Pretty standard. The holster, standard Nitecore holster. It's got the little Nitecore logo flap there. Velcro closure over the flashlight. This loop to clip something onto on the back. You've got the Velcro flap to use, or the permanently attached flap if you want to thread a belt through there. So there's the holster. Also have the user manual and the warranty card. So, and then finally, of course, the flashlight. Alright, so the MH10 uses a Cree XML2 emitter. You can see it's set down there in a smooth reflector. It's a pretty small reflector and a pretty large emitter, so even though it's a smooth reflector, it's still going to be a fairly floody light. It'll have some apologize for discontinuity. My camera battery ran out and got it replaced now. We should be good to go. As I was saying, it should have decent throw just from being so bright, but mostly it's going to be kind of a floody light. So you can see the heat dissipation fins here near the head. Those increase the surface area of the flashlight and help get heat out of the flashlight, away from the emitter, away from the electronics, out into the air as quickly as possible. That allows these high output lights to maintain their high output for a little while without damaging the electronics. You can see the switch here to turn it on and off. That's the only switch on the body of the light. Even though it says mode, it's also the power switch. You can see the USB port here. It's got a little rubber cover. Now, I'm always a little bit skeptical of these rubber covers, despite whatever claims manufacturers make, so I want to be really careful about. I'm not going to expose this to a lot of water, just because I don't really trust the little rubber covers really well. But you can see the micro USB port right back in there. That should keep most small splashes or dust and things out, so that'll be at least protecting that for the most part. You can see the body has Nitecore's really kind of fine and light and knurling, has a little bit of grip, but not a ton. You can see here the holes for the lanyard. The way the holes are set up, it allows you to have the lanyard attached and still do a tail stand, which is nice, and that is a good stable tail stand there. We'll open it up and take a look inside. Comes apart at both the head and the tail, but I'm just taking it apart at the tail right now. You can see there's a spring there to make contact with the negative battery terminal. If my camera will focus on the threads, that's not bad there. You can see they're square cut, and they are anodized and greased, so they should last for quite a while. We'll look inside the head also, and you can see Nitecore's, they're using their mechanical anti-reverse polarity protection. So if you happen to insert your battery backwards, it won't hurt the battery or the flashlight, but it does mean you have to use a cell with a button top. And speaking of the battery, it takes a 18650 size battery, or else two CR123 size batteries. And it does come with a Nitecore 18650 battery, which is nice, a rechargeable lithium-ion. So you can see when I first insert a battery, it does a series of blinks. It did 4, and then paused, and then did 2. That means I've got 4.2 volts, which means a good fully charged lithium-ion battery. Whenever you insert the battery, it gives you the charge. So if you ever wonder where you are at, you can just kind of loosen it and then retighten it, and it should, tell you. So that's a very nice voltage check feature. And it looks pretty cool with the blue light under the switch there. So to turn the light on and off, before we get into that, I guess I'll show you the charging really quick. So use this little fancy Nitecore USB cable. Pretty long too, which is nice. plug the micro USB port into there. It fits very snugly. And then the USB port I'll plug into my computer. You could also use a USB wall adapter or anything like that. I'm sure you're familiar with how USB cords work. When I'm plugged in, it shows a blue light to show that I'm charging. This blue light will turn off once it's finished charging. So that's the charging of it. Now, the operation, to turn the light on, I actually just did it by accident here. You press the switch one time. The light will turn on in whatever mode it used last. Right now I'm in the ultra low mode. To cycle through the brightnesses, I hold down on the switch for a little bit and it just cycles through. One thing I really like about this flashlight, even though it uses just a single button, all the operations are pretty snappy, which sometimes when I'm holding a button and waiting for something to happen, it seems like it takes forever and I get kind of frustrated with it. But I like this, the way Nitecore's got the timing set up. It just feels like the flashlight's very responsive and I appreciate that. So it has mode memory, so you can see it's just coming on and off in the mode I used last. Maybe I want to do ultra low mode. There's the low, I can turn it on and off there. Medium, high, and find, I guess it just has the 4 modes. So whatever mode I leave it in last is the one it turns back on in. I can also activate the strobe mode, I believe, by holding down, ultra low mode you can always access no matter what mode you leave it in last. So say I leave it in the medium here. If I want to turn it back on but go straight to the ultra low mode, I do that by holding down on the button. And I can go straight to the ultra low mode. And then I can also access the strobe mode with a double click. And then once I'm in the strobe mode, I can cycle through the different flashy modes by holding down on the button again. So here's the SOS mode. I can hold down on the button again and go to kind of a beacon where it just flashes once every couple seconds, and hold down again and back to the strobe. And those flashy modes are not included in the mode memory. So that's the user interface of the new Nitecore MH10, and if you stick around for just a second, we will take it outside and give it a shot in the dark. Thanks for sticking around. Review the light. We've got the Nitecore MH10 out here in the dark. We're going to fire it up and give it a shot. So I'll go ahead and turn it on. Here we are. Looks like we're in one of the higher modes now. We've got the light on the side blinking to let me know so I don't forget that it's on. You see that there? Alright, the beam is not too narrow, not too wide. Well, we'll first, I guess before we get in that, we'll cycle through. As I mentioned earlier, it's a pretty fast cycle through all the modes. The lowest mode, you can see it's still on here. I've got enough light to see the ground and walk around without drawing attention to myself or ruining my night vision, but you're not going to be able to see that on the camera. There's the next lowest mode. There's the medium, and there's the high mode. So you can see it's got a decent amount of throw. Not a lot, but I can see things a little ways off just fine. I wouldn't want to use this for long range light, but it's good at close or mid ranges. Pretty good color. I would say it's slightly on the neutral side of a cool tint. And as I was saying, the beam itself has a discernible hot spot, but a very smooth transition out into the spill. The spill is very even. And like I said, it's not extremely narrow, not extremely wide, just kind of an average width of the spill there. So this is the Nitecore MH10. Thanks for stopping by Review the Light. If you have any more questions about the MH10, I'll be putting a link to the full review in the description. That'll have stuff like the runtime graphs, the beam shots, the spectral analysis, all that kind of thing. So be sure to check that out if you have any more questions about the light. Thanks, and have a great night.